Hey YouTubers, this is coinpicker.us and let's start off with the famous Bugs Bunny dance. Here we go. That is pretty much how everybody is feeling in the market today, and with good reason. I always love Bugs Bunny. With good reason. We have popped up hugely. I mean, a massive run up. Let's take a quick look at that and just recapture the glory moments. Basically from, I think, a low recently of 280-ish, 281, all the way up to a high of 400. What a monster tradable move. So here's what I wrote yesterday when we were at 351. So, basically close to 12, 14% up from there, something like that. I had written yesterday, and this was early, so probably 151 p.m. CST. Not that as early as I thought, but pretty early. Basically, I said, okay, the market's up, and I said the indicators are not overbought yet, and we have decent follow-through potential to the upside. Same long-term projects with value are performing well for the short-term bounces. If you check all of these, for the most part, you did better than a 20% day trading profit. So you definitely want to sign up for my my email list on coinpicker.us. I've got the link below, but basically go there, pop this, you'll get an email, and just send it. And I send out email updates usually every day. I'm now going to start including them on my site as well, so you can get them on my site. I'm going to be offering some coin reports on ICOs and things like that shortly. But I wanted to just recount that. I have been calling the ups and downs pretty accurately. I think most of my readers would confirm that. I mean, nobody's perfect, but I do my best, and thus far it has been relatively accurate. I also mentioned that we were below the cost of production, and that recouped very quickly. Now that's a shifting number, but basically below the cost of production. And I picked a few for strong rebound gains, and wow, did they perform. The lowest one probably did about, 10%, but a lot of them were in the 25% and more for short-term rebound gains from when I stated this. So actually even better than that, come to think of it, because CoinMarketCap does a 24-hour loop that happens later, so they did even better than that. So if anybody makes moves based on this type of a report, and I'm not providing financial advice, I'm just telling you what I'm looking at, what I'm doing, you would have banked nicely. But a lot of people did in the market. I mean, let's be blunt. A lot of people did. Let's take a quick look at where we're at now that we've had the huge bounce. To my surprise, total surprise, still on a daily basis, we are not overbought. Now, the balance of power is reaching sort of excessive levels, admittedly. But on the CCI, which is a great indicator if you know what you're doing with it, as well as the EFI, are both saying there is quite a bit more potential to the upside. We still haven't even recaptured our 20-day EMA. So, there's definitely upside potential to this move. Now, stochastic RSI is also showing it. It's if anything, oversold. So this is immensely powerful. Now, Ethereum is not the same. Ethereum, which I'm using as a proxy for all altcoins, are suggesting that we could be hitting a trend. I'm not expecting a major bounce up. If anything, we're slightly downward biased relative to BTC. But still, if BTC goes up and everything else remains the same, they go up as well. But if you want high relative returns, which is the name of the game largely, you may revert back to BTC over Ethereum. We are, however, in a position for looking for a trend change here relatively quickly. So the power is drifting towards sellers. Sellers are still in control slightly, and that's been the case for a while. I mentioned that the other day. In fact, I basically said exactly this. We have a slight downward bias with a trend. That's exactly what it was the other day, and it remains more or less the same. Slight downward bias with a trend, which means if BTC goes up and the altcoins are dropping, you may just tread water. You may just tread water with some of the altcoins. There have been some outstanding returns. I haven't analyzed any specific altcoins, but if anybody has any that they want, leave them in the comments, and I will. I want to also note something else that's rather interesting that I have been paying a lot of attention to, and I don't think many other crypto channels do, because I came from a commodity trading background, financial advising background, and trading options and everything. And I'm of course really deeply versed in cryptocurrencies, so I'm not applying just the same exact type of thinking, but I am applying some of it. And what I had earlier called in videos a long time ago, I said, I think the cryptocurrencies have taken over the role as the most speculative market. If there's to be a downturn, it will be cryptocurrencies first, and then the financial markets will follow through. That's exactly what happened. Now, the interesting thing is that on the upside, that's also what has happened. We've gotten a massive move to the upside for cryptocurrencies, which could be tied to some news events. However, it's just a little too convenient. News events are coming out plus and minus for the cryptocurrency market. I would say what the U.S. government did with the SEC rules and everything else was on bulk, not strongly negative, but I wouldn't call it. Everybody else is saying, oh, it's very positive. No, I wouldn't call it that. They still want to go after ICOs. They still want to go after potentially some of the exchanges, add in a bunch of regulations. I am staunchly against the cryptocurrency market or the cryptocurrency projects cozying up with the regulators. Staunchly against it. You may have an opinion on your own. I realize that we have to deal with them right now, but as we build forks into either into the fiat world somehow, or bypass the fiat world altogether, bypass national currencies, and create a cryptocurrency ecosystem, which I think would be ideal. We don't even need to show up for regulating meetings. Hopefully, or it's completely invisible, one way or the other. But what I wanted to talk about was that look what's happened now. We've got a significant bounce up, but nowhere near on the scale of the cryptocurrency market, and still the Nasdaq is showing negative territory. So the other thing that I want to talk about, really key, is how the dollar dropped around the same time as cryptocurrency market dropped, and then it started to recover somewhat in the same boat. So there is looking like there's a little bit of equivalence going on there. I have it early on. Bitcoin was the anti-dollar, and Bitcoin to a certain extent is still the anti-dollar, as are some of the other currencies, Dash and Litecoin and all that. And I want to see a break. I want to see, as the dollar drops, Bitcoin rises and cryptos rise, and as US dollar rises, cryptos might drop, meaning they become the anti-dollar currency. I don't like seeing them necessarily rise together. So I'm going to pay more close attention to this, because this is how it matters. This is why it matters. It's not all that hard to predict the US dollar index. There's a lot of indicators on it, a lot of history, a lot of patterns. And if there's a direct relationship between the US dollar index, which is still one of the big currency in the world, more or less, for that matter, gold and silver could apply, but they don't as equally, US dollar index, then it becomes really easy to predict the crypto market. Now, I'm already doing a pretty reasonable job with that, but I'm looking for these trends to see which ones play in. Right now, I'm seeing more inverse relationship than I am seeing positive relationship between the US dollar index and the cryptocurrency. So you already know what I'm looking forward to happening with BTC. There still seems to be plenty of follow through. Now, this is on a daily basis. Let's check on a weekly basis, because on the weekly basis, I was saying, hey, on a weekly basis, we still have some downward momentum. You know what? That looks like on a weekly basis, we may not have downward momentum anymore. We are tilting up here, we're moving up here, and we're leveling out here. I would like to see CCI move up here shortly, but if we keep getting the bounce that we're getting today, that will happen, and we will crest a downtrending EMA, and that would be beautiful. That means somewhere in the neighborhood of 10,000. If we crest it, that would be a massive, significant move. It would take us up above the 450 limit, which I had set before, and we could literally be on another tear. A little too early to say, but at this point, it looks to me that weekly we're even more positive. Weekly we're either trending or more positive. So super positive on the market. That's what I'm looking for right now. Go ahead and click subscribe, click like if you're finding some value in what I'm talking about. Go to coinpicker.us. Sign up. Pretty shortly, the premium analysis will be available, which will give you the big picture on the crypto market with a really high level of certainty where it's going. And when you know that, you know when to go long, buy into a crypto, and when to sell out. Like, oh no, the bottom's going to drop out. I don't want to lose another 40%. That kind of signal I have. Plus the coin reports, which are going to be coming shortly, where I go through each coin really in depth, up to the minute report of where the prospects are, so you can decide whether to invest a lot of money or not, that kind of thing. All right, coinpicker.us signing out, and we'll talk to you.